You've heard of autopilot. Now meet autoland. Hi there. Welcome to Plain English for this December 26th, 2019. I hope you had a nice Christmas. I'm Jeff. JR is the producer, and this is episode 219 of Plain English, the best podcast for practicing English. That's because we have a speed that's just right for you. The slower speed version or the new fast version. And if you ever get confused about a word, don't worry. Just check out the transcript of the program at plainenglish.com/219. Coming up today, you might know Garmin as the company that used to make GPS navigational devices for cars, but they're also big into navigation and safety system for planes, and their newest system can land a plane without a pilot at all. Later on, we'll talk about what it means to be prone to something, and JR has a Christmas song. Pretty soon, here the calendar is going to flip to 2020. Can you believe that? And if practicing English is on your list of New Year's resolutions, then you'll want to be getting our episode emails, which have extra words and phrases from our episodes and links to English articles for you to read more about each topic. Thousands of your fellow listeners were on that list for all of 2019. And that means that in just this year alone, they learned 104 new words and phrases in English. That's 2 for every week of the year. And you guys know there's no such thing as a holiday at Plain English. We have new material every Monday and every Thursday, 52 weeks a year. So come join us on that list, and next year you can be among the listeners who have learned 104 new phrases by this time in 2020. So just visit plainenglish.com/mail, M-A-I-L, to sign up for free. Of all the modes of transportation available, flying is by far the safest. A crash of a commercial plane resulting in passenger deaths is vanishingly rare. Still, many people are afraid of flying, and all the safety statistics in the world can't suppress that fear. One of the reasons, I think, is that a plane crash is so dramatic. Rare, yes, but dramatic. The planes that do crash tend to be smaller, private planes, not big commercial airliners. And now a new technology developed by Garmin may make those small plane crashes a little less likely. Do you remember that brand, Garmin? They were best known among consumers for the GPS navigation systems that cars used to have back in the days before we used cell phones for navigation. Garmin is still around, and today the company develops wearable electronics, aviation safety systems, and more sophisticated navigation systems for trucks, boats, and aircraft. Now, the company has developed a system called autoland that allows airplanes to land themselves in emergency situations. Call it the next frontier of autopilot, the system that allows a plane's onboard computer to set the trajectory of the aircraft. The purpose of the auto land system is to allow any person, passenger or pilot, to hit a button in the event of an emergency and watch as the plane lands itself. How does it work? Well, the main objective of the system is to act as a backup if the pilot becomes incapacitated. Incapacitated means unable to do their normal duties, unable to function. Although commercial airliners have a co-pilot, smaller planes usually just have one single pilot. And if that pilot becomes incapacitated, for example, if he or she suffers a heart attack during the flight, then the chances that anyone survives are pretty low. It's very difficult to remotely teach a passenger to stabilize a plane in the air, much less land it safely. That's why Garmin has developed this new safety system that would allow any passenger to push a button and engage an auto land system. Just as autopilot guides the plane without manual controls, auto land will fly the plane to the nearest airport and land it safely without human intervention. Here's how it works. The first thing it does is contact air traffic control via automated voice messages and a mayday or emergency signal. Next, it uses the Garmin navigation system to analyze the terrain, weather, and nearby airports, taking into account how much fuel is available. Based on that information, it decides, first of all, which airport to go to, and then what route and approach to take. The system sets the aircraft on course to the best airport while doing all the things that autopilot normally does, like monitor and control speed, pressurization, altitude, etc. One thing the system can't do is clear other aircraft out of its path. However, it can tell the local air traffic controllers about the situation, and they will presumably clear the airspace of other planes. Once the plane is near the runway, the Autoland software releases the landing gear, lands the plane on the runway, applies automatic braking, brings the plane to a halt, and shuts off the engine. Now, even if no one pushes the button, if Autoland notices inactivity with the pilot after a long period of time, it will self-start. The Autoland is still a long way from widespread adoption. It still hasn't gotten approval from the FAA, our aviation regulator, and it will only be available in 2 small aircraft to start, and it's pretty expensive. The march of transportation continues. The necessity to take off and land a plane is often the justification for having 2 pilots in the cockpit of planes anyway. Think back to our aviation fears. If people are afraid of flying today, I don't think they'll ever buy a ticket on an unmanned flight. But this might allow commercial airliners to fly without a co-pilot someday. At the least, it would make the smaller aircraft that are prone to crashes a little safer in case of an emergency. I know we have some pilots in the audience, at least a few in Brazil, one in Chile, I think. I'd love to know what you think about this as a pilot or a passenger. So leave a comment below the episode text at plainenglish.com/219. Time to say hello to a few listeners. Miguel from Chihuahua, Mexico, loves the episode topics. He's interested in every one, no exceptions, he says, and he requested more episodes per week. Not even I think all the episode topics are interesting. You know, I used to pick topics that I thought were important and that I should talk about, but then I realized if I'm not interested in a topic, there's no way I can make it interesting to all of you. Also, I want to say hi to Ali from Istanbul, who is studying English independently with podcasts, movies, and YouTube channels, and I'm happy to be a part of Ali's independent study curriculum. Today's expression is prone to. That simply means likely to do, or likely to have, or likely to suffer from something. Smaller aircraft are more prone to crashes than larger aircraft. Smaller aircraft are more likely to suffer from crashes than larger aircraft. The elderly are more prone to falling than younger people. That makes sense, right? The elderly are more likely to fall than younger people. Some individuals might be more prone to certain things. Because of your medical history, you might be more prone to heart disease. You might be more likely to suffer from heart disease than is the average person. Windows computers are prone to viruses, whereas Apple computers are not. That person is accident prone. Have you known someone like that? This week, he suffered a burn while cooking. Last week, he dropped something heavy on his foot. A month or two ago, he backed his car into a mailbox. Once last year, he fell off a ladder. He's prone to accidents, or he's accident prone. More than anyone else, he seems to suffer from accidents. A certain member of the staff of this program is prone to losing his wallet. I'm not going to name names. It's not important who it is, but he is prone to losing his wallet. It has happened more than once. Again, I'm not naming names. JR's Song of the Week is next. Today is the day after Christmas, so you probably still have Christmas or holiday lights up. Here in Chicago, the Lincoln Park Zoo has great Christmas lights up, as do the streets in Lincoln Square near my house, and all up and down Michigan Avenue. And the song of the week is Christmas Lights by Coldplay. It's a good holiday song, and the words are easy to understand. I highly recommend you check this out, and thanks again to JR for selecting this song, Christmas Lights by Coldplay. By the way, the first person to tell me where that song takes place will get a free month of Plain English Plus. If you listen to the song lyrics, there is a hint about where the singer is. So send me an email to Jeff, Jeff, at plainenglish.com and tell me where that place is, city and country, please. That's all for today. Thank you so much for joining us. Once again, I hope you had a very nice Christmas and are getting ready to enjoy a few days off here at the end of the year. We'll be back on Monday for the last episode of Plain English in 2019. See you then. By the way, if you're serious about improving your English in 2020, then I encourage you to check out Plain English Plus. One of the best features of Plain English Plus is our video lessons. With each episode, twice a week, we highlight one little piece of grammar or English usage, and we show you how to use it in a video lesson. And if you think it's just sitting back and watching, it's not. You get to write your own sentences right inside the video. And these videos show you the ways to connect ideas, develop your thoughts, and sound more professional in your writing and speaking. If this sounds like what you need in your life, in your career, then come check us out at plainenglish.com/plus, plainenglish.com/plus.